Test match rugby this Saturday, folks, sees Wales taking on Australia. Neither of these sides is in the greatest run of form, although for the Australians, they did manage to push a couple of the top dogs close in recent weeks, and Wales will be looking to bounce back after a frustrating loss to Georgia. We'll go through some lineups, some stats, some recent history and predictions. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one may or may not go. If you're wondering if the British and Irish Lions rugby store are doing Black Friday deals, why yes they are. Check the link down in the description if you want to get yourself some gear. So Wales, remembering these guys are without some of their premiership names, the likes of Rhys, Nick Tompkins and co. All these guys are unavailable. So Wayne Pivac has had to change things around a little bit. There's a kind of maybe couple of selection surprises, but it's the same front row as the side that played Georgia last week. Gareth, Tomos, Ken Owens and Dillon Lewis. So that's a bit of consistency. And then in the locks, Adam Baird continues on and is rejoined by Alun Jones, who's missed the last couple of tests, but Pivac did essentially say, well, he's going to be available for the Aussie game because he'll be without some of the premiership players, so he's been saving Alun for this one, so there we go. Jack Morgan gets another crack at the number 6 jersey, which is pleasing. Him and Tipuric kind of tackle the house down, and Faletau there at number 8. I think it's his 100th test as well, so big congratulations to him. Certainly a pretty bloody experience. I mean, I know Jack Morgan's not the most experienced guy, but he's certainly very promising, and in what was a pretty bad loss to Georgia, like what one of the bright spots of that game. I thought Jack Morgan, I thought, you know, Josh Macleod, these guys were kind of bright spots on what was otherwise a pretty miserable day for the Welsh, but yeah, a mixture of youth and experience, certainly edging more on the experience side for the Welsh forward pack. Thomas Williams and Gareth Anscombe 9 and 10, so Anscombe's back into the 23 to run the show from 10. Joe Hawkins is getting a debut at 12. Remember, there's no Nick Tompkins, as I mentioned, back in the Premiership, and Owen Watkin is injured, so it's a good chance for him to get his taste of Test rugby. And he's up against a relatively inexperienced at 12 guy for Reece Hodge for the Aussies, but we'll get to the Aussies in just a minute. So big congratulations to him. He's been alright for the Ospreys, hasn't he? So chance to prove himself to take a step up, and he's got George North outside him plus Gareth Anscombe, you know, at 10. So he's going to be pretty well looked after in terms of you know, having some experienced heads around him. Cuthbert is still in on the right wing. Remember, he gave away that yellow card last week. It was kind of an unfortunate one, but he's not been kind of punished by Pivac for that one. He's still on the right wing. And Rio Dyer is back into the 23 after he's only started his test career a few weeks ago, but certainly looked the business. You know, very good at getting over the advantage line as old Rio. Got some wheels, so left wing for him. And then Halfpenny takes Rhys spot with him being unavailable due to playing in the Premiership. So Halfpenny's first start for a wee while for Wales in the 15 jersey. Certainly another one who lacks not for experience. Bench-wise, Ryan Elias is back in as the replacement hooker. Rhodri Jones, Tom Francis back. Good to have Tom Francis back because, I mean, Wales' scrum got kind of bossed around by the Georgian replacements last week, didn't they? So having a good scrummager like Tom Francis is good news. Ben Carter drops to the bench. Josh Macleod drops to the bench. He can consider himself unlucky because he won a few good turnovers in that game last week. Kieran Hardy back in the 23. Priestland drops to the bench. And interestingly, Josh Adams drops to the bench. I thought maybe it would have been Cuthbert with Adams shifting to the left, to the right wing, or somehow getting Adams to start, but not to be. So there you go. That's the Welsh lineup. For the Aussies, I am literally surprised they've been able to field at 23 because their injury list is horrendous. I mean, Valtini's out, Hooper's out, Paisami's out, Tupou's out, Callaway's out, and this, like, just joining the guys who were already injured, plus you know, guys like Big Will Skelton's not available because we're outside the international window now. So they have managed to field a 23. James Slipper continues on as captain at loose head. Fainga'a and Alun are there as well, so Fainga'a's up from the bench. Front row wise, that's pretty useful looking from the Aussies. I think they should give the Welsh a good go. Nick Frost and Caden Neville, that steady is the locker duo. So the tight 5 is looking relatively stable. Jed Holloway's still there. Remember, he's a great line-out option for the Aussies at 6. He's becoming a bit of a mainstay for them. And then you've got Fraser McCright taking the spot of Michael Huber. kind of a like-for-like change, so certainly less experience, but tackling machine, good at the breakdown, happy days for him. And then Langi Gleeson fills the shoes of big Rob Valtini at number 8. He's really new in his test career, but he needs some minutes, so he's getting a crack before the end of the Aussie season. Jake Gordon and Ben Donaldson, the 9-10 combo, a wee bit surprised, although that's a Waratahs duo from Super Rugby, so maybe Dave is trying to keep these guys together. Remember, Ben Donaldson has only played one test where he came off the bench against the Italians for a few minutes, had a shot to win the game with a conversion at the death and missed it. So it's a good chance, I guess, for redemption for him, and he gets to at least have a bit more game time, but it's kind of gutting for Noah Lolesio, who just, Dave doesn't seem to have any faith in to run the show at 10. So he keeps trying everybody else, even when Noah is fit. So, yeah, it's Ben Donaldson. Wow, congratulations. Rhys Hodge, like I mentioned, is there at 12, I say. I mean, he's really well experienced at test level, but not so much at 12. I don't think he started a test at 12 for a very long time. Ikitau, though, has been a mainstay at 13, so that's at least a bit of stability. Petaia's up from the bench on the right wing. Nawaqanitawase shifts to the left wing, and he's had a really good couple of tests since making his debut a few weeks ago. And Tom Wright shifts to fullback with the absence of, like, Callaway. Bench-wise, Lockie Lonergan's in. Tom Robertson is still there. Sam Talakai is going to get his debut, so congratulations to him. Prop replacement Ned Hannigan's into the 23. Pete Samu still can't grab a start, despite being one of the more outstanding guys I would have thought in the Wallabies season. Seemed to have worked his way from the bench into the starting lineup for a wee bit, but he's kind of regressed back down to the regular bench guy now. I guess his flexibility kind of counts against him in that he's seen as the guy who can cover 6, 7 or 8. Tate McDermott's back into the 23 as well. Remember, no Nick White. Lola Seozi, like I mentioned, and Jock Campbell. So that is the Aussie 23. Stats-wise, the Aussies score more tries per game. It's like 2.5 they're averaging, to the Welsh who are averaging less than 2. So neither of these sides have been lighting it up with tries scored, to be honest. But that being said, the Aussies concede more tries, 3 tries a game to just over 2 for the Welsh. So which one of those numbers breaks through for these teams this weekend, we'll have to wait and see. The Aussies concede more penalties. Goodness gracious me, the discipline has been atrocious this year, averaging almost 14 penalties conceded a game. But the Welsh aren't much better with like 12. So they're kind of the worst of the Northern Hemisphere teams. And both sides give away a lot of yellow cards. So yeah, whoever can get their discipline right will certainly put themselves at a bit of an advantage. Wales have got a better line out. The Aussies are a wee bit better at winning turnovers at the breakdown. So, yeah, man, it could be a pretty interesting one in terms of which side can finish the year on a high. Recent history, it's a weird one because the Aussies absolutely had the wood over the Welsh for years. Like, of these last 5, you can see 2 of these wins are the Aussie wins, but those are the 2 oldest wins. So 2016, 2017, Australia wins. That's when Wales just couldn't buy a win against Australia. But the most recent 3 games, bang, 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 Wales have kind of come back, and now the roles are reversed. The Australians can't seem to crack the Welsh, but there's certainly been some close games. You're looking at the most recent one, doesn't get any closer, 29-28. Wallabies had a red card in that game. Priestland, I think, kicked one at the death to win it for Wales. The previous game before that, the World Cup, 29-25, also very close. The prior one to that, 9-6. Tryless game, I remember that one. It was Tipuric and Pocock just going head-to-head at the breakdown. It was crazy. But yeah, some really close games. But the average score of the last 5 is 24-19 to the Australians because they did get a big win way back in 2016, 32 points to 8. That was also in Cardiff. They pretty much always meet in Cardiff, barring that one game in Japan. Predictions-wise, the Rugby Forecast algorithm is picking the Australians for this one by 1 point, but the bookies are going the other way. And they are saying the Welsh by 2. So we do have a split. It's at the Principality. It's a 3:15, I think, kickoff. Matt Carley from England is the ref. So, yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you reckon this one is going to go? Can you see the Aussies, injury ravaged, getting one final win of the tour? Because they have been bloody close in all their games this year. Or will the Welsh, smarting from that loss to the Georgians, be too much for them at home? You guys let us know your thoughts. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.